Happy Word of the Day Wednesdays. I am author Nicole D. Miller, and this is my debut novel, When Love Wins. When Love Wins is an urban Christian fiction story. It's depicting the rift between two young female cousins. When Natalie, the faith-based social justice advocate writer, loses her mom, she moves in with her cousin Ashley, the little bit snobby, artistic, free-spirited fashionista. It seems like Ashley is not feeling that her ex Darren is feeling Natalie, but there is more to the story. This novel deals with childhood trauma, parent absenteeism, mental health struggles in the Black community, such as cutting, depression, anxiety, and it also has positive themes of sisterhood, faith, and love. You can learn more. Just go to whenlovewins.love. Let's get started. So this week's Word of the Day Wednesdays is going to discuss my latest blog, Do You Need Help to Believe? And one of the things that I share about in this blog is, hey Seth, thanks for tuning in. One of the things I share about in this blog is a blogger I used to follow who is no longer blogging, so I couldn't pull up her article because I really did want to share it. But I remember she was talking about her waiting in extended singleness and trusting God for her spouse and how difficult it was to believe for all those years. And one particular day, she goes to church and she goes to altar for prayer. And the woman who prays for her says, she basically tells the woman like what she's dealing with. And the woman responds and says, I will believe for you. Thanks, Seth. I will believe for you. And it really was this woman taking on the role of an intercessor. And biblically speaking, we see many intercessors in the Bible. Moses would be considered an intercessor as he was the go-to person that God was speaking to in lieu of the children of Israel having face-to-face dialogue with God. Abraham was another intercessor. And so the intercessor is the role of someone that's kind of praying for you, especially when you can't pray for yourself. And so this young woman was sharing her testimony or her experience of being like, you know what, I am so tapped out, I have nothing left. And when she says that to this lady at her church, the lady says, I will pray for you. And the beauty is that that response really demonstrates the need for community. So often in our culture, we're functioning independently. I am guilty of it. But even more so, if you're single and you don't have a close family unit, you can really struggle with just kind of doing your thing, thinking of yourself, doing things on your own. But this was a beautiful picture of how we need God and we need others, right? And so what I talk about in this particular article or blog is if you find yourself in a similar position where you are tapped out, where you are on the struggle bus, where you just can't see before the trees. You can't see the wood before the trees. I think that's how the saying goes. And you just need somebody else to step in and be like, hey, I got you. Read this blog, okay? So what I share on a personal note is like I've been in a space of believing, and it's so wild because as my faith has wavered daily, every time I struggle, somebody pops up with an encouraging word about my situation. And the wild thing is, it's like the very people who I reached out to sharing this word with them, and that they're using it to encourage me. And it's just God using all of it, right? So we need people. We cannot do it alone. And the beautiful thing that I end this blog post with is that the young woman ends up married and has children. So the effective, fervent prayers of someone else were able to encourage her enough. And even if, she struggled, it encouraged her enough to keep waiting, which then in turn brought forth God's promises in her life. If you're in need of some encouragement for your faith, your beliefs, tap in at NicoleDMiller.com. One of the things I share about in this particular blog is if you are struggling, to email me. If you don't have other people you can reach for, other people who will stand in the gap for you, who will pray for you, to encourage you, email me at info@ndmillerpublishing.com. All right. So what is next on the agenda? 2023 is quickly winding down. It's insane. I just got the interview from my time with Vince at Open Doors. And if you haven't checked that out, you can go on my link tree. Definitely tap in. It was an amazing interview. We talked about When Love Wins. We talked about the Black diaspora. We talked about all the things. If you're not on my newsletter, definitely subscribe at NicoleDMiller.com, because I give you guys all of the tidbits, all of the things that are happening in this writing career. So I've had 2 really great interviews this year. The Cleveland Public Library was one of them. That is featured on my YouTube channel. Subscribe to that if you're not already subscribed to that, and you can check that out. I also dropped the newsletter at the beginning of the month, so if you haven't read that, definitely tap in. The upcoming event that's happening, drum roll please, thank you. We are doing our first in-person for Girl Talk. I know, it's happening. So you guys probably know I do a quarterly event or a quarterly discussion on women's issues, and I've had some heavy hitters. It's usually featuring 4 to 6 panelists, female leaders in the city and out of the city, female leaders who are go-getters, who are driven, who are doing their thing, who are influencers, and we tackle these heavy-hitting topics. The very last topic, Can Black Love Still Happen, was in September. That particular topic was so meaty, I did expand the panelists, guests, to about 10 other women. It was definitely intense and meaty, and we're probably going to do a round 2 of that because people were like, we need to talk about this again. Maybe invite the men, so stay tuned. But because this next topic is near and dear to my heart, and really they all are, we're going to do it in person. It's called Dealing with Grief at the Holidays. So I know that this topic is so special to so many people who are dealing with a loved one's transition. If you're in the Cleveland area, get your ticket, $5 on Eventbrite, $10 at the door. It's going to be held at Ink Therapy Studio, owned by my girl Butter, on December 17th. So that's a Sunday from 6 to 8. Okay, it's going to be jam-packed with resources, with dialogue, with fellowship. We'll have some light refreshments. We have 2U Wines in the house, Black female owned. We have Body Armor LLC. They're going to be providing refreshments. We have my girl Alicia Ellis through Mas Ray, who's helping to promote. So definitely come through, or if you know someone who's in need of this discussion, come through. It's definitely going to be a safe space for vulnerability. And this time around, I hand selected the panelists because I wanted them to be experts in this field. Normally, the panelists are women who are just kind of killing it and doing their thing, and they're sharing from their life experience, and there is wisdom there too. But because this is such a sensitive topic, I want people to leave healed. Myself, I don't want to leave the way I came in. So if you know anyone who could benefit from this, check us out at Eventbrite. You can also tap in on my link tree, on my Instagram handle at HTOHB, which stands for How to Overcome Heartbreak, the name of my first book. And we would love to have you join us. So that's about all I have for you guys. Hey, Tracy. Thank you guys for tuning in. And I will see you next week for our Word of the Day Wednesdays. And Tracy, you see I got my workout clothes on because I'm about to go to SEP tonight. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.